Hello StarCraft fans, Volty here coming at you with another StarCraft 2 beta commentary. This is a 1 vs 1 game on some map whose name I've forgotten, oh well. And it's between a player named Karune and another player named Wrags. It's a commentary I picked up on teamliquid.net, which is a great site. And I decided I would just load this sucker up, play it, and let you know my thoughts as these two duke it out in a 1v1 epic battle of Zerg versus Protoss. So we have Karune in the lower left here as Protoss, and his opponent, Wrags, as Zerg in the upper right. Oh, so one thing is the game speed here. I believe the game is played on faster, and that's what I'm going to do these commentaries in. Some things may be more entertaining at a slower game speed, so maybe for some battles I'll slow it down to fast. I'm not sure how people feel about that. Certainly if you're watching live StarCraft, you only have, the option to watch it at the speed it's played. So part of me wants to just keep it on faster all the time and do things that way. I don't know, it's something I'm thinking about here, whether I should be slowing down the game speed, or even, one thing that with StarCraft 2 now you can do is you can actually advance and rewind the replay in the middle, which is fantastic. That's so much better than what you could do in StarCraft 1. So given that these are replays, I can even do a battle, commentate it, and then play it again and, review and really dive in. So those are things I'm thinking about doing. Be interested to know people's thoughts on that, whether you're interested in seeing that kind of in-depth analysis, or you just want me to play through these games and do them at the normal speed as if it was live and you couldn't go back and review. In any case, we got a scout here. Rags checking out Protoss base. Looks like he's trying to nuzzle up to that probe there. He's kind of not going to get any action though, not right now. But he is going to keep moving around that scout. Meanwhile, in Rags' base, we've got Karune just kind of sitting around. And one thing you'll notice here is that as Karune gives his orders and we select the probe, we can actually see them here as he's queuing up this movement order for his probe. That's pretty cool too. So a lot of interesting replay features going on in StarCraft 2 that we didn't have in StarCraft 1. Making these replays better for us, better see what the players are doing and what commands they're issuing. Now we have Karune putting up a cybernetics core to add to his gateway, kind of having a front door here at his base, making it very hard for that to be attacked. Zerglings are going to come try to squeeze through that gap. It could be easily held off by just a couple of zealots. And Karune is getting his economy in full swing here with 2 assimilators. This compares to Rags, who's still stuck on only Crystal, sending out his first Zerglings to hunt down that probe. Run, probe, run. Rags does have an early hatchery going up, though. That could give him a critical economic advantage here. But we do know that Karune knows he's got that hatchery. In fact, I can even confirm that by checking the point of view. This is Karune's camera right now, or I should say this is only Karune's information. And his probe is being attacked. But you can see that he definitely has line of sight to that hatchery, so he knows it's being put up. And that probe is going to go down there. So I'll bring it back to everybody's information now, so we can see what everyone's doing. Also bring up what players are producing here. So we have warp gate technology being researched by Karune, as well as another gateway and a stalker coming out, and we've just got a creep tumor being built for Rags right now. No other production going on, so I wonder what's the holdup, Rags. Okay, it's droning up some more, getting his economy going. We apparently have some impression that the Karune here is David Kim. Hard to know if that's true or not. In StarCraft, multiple players can have the same name, so you could have any number of people named Karune on Battle.net, and then you get an identifier after that. It's very confusing and sort of strange, so bottom line is that, I don't know, it's I wouldn't be sure anybody is anybody they say they are just because they have a certain name on Battle.net. You'd have to know their identifier as well. Anyways, these Zerglings are coming up here to test out the front door of Karune's base. There's only 4 Zerglings though, so they're not going to get in. The Overlord here being pushed back by the Stalker. So we can see now Karune warping in additional Stalkers using his warp gate technology. So just to be clear, I'll talk about how this works. I think it's pretty cool. Once you turn your gateway into a warp gate, which is free, it takes 10 seconds after you research the relatively cheap warp gate tech at the cybernetics core. Only costs 50 crystal and 50 gas. You can then turn your gateways into warp gates. In the warp gate state, they can immediately build any unit anywhere you have pylon power, and that unit takes about 5 seconds to build and warp in. So anywhere that you've got pylon power, you can bring in new units. So in this case, he's just bringing them in next to the warp gate anyways, which is not that exciting. But the fact is you can bring them in anywhere that you have pylon power, as far away on the map as that may be. The warp gate then has a cooldown timer. When it expires, you can then bring in another unit, and that unit takes 5 seconds as well. So in the period where you're waiting for the cooldown to expire, you can't build anything, but that's sort of the time it would have taken to build the unit anyways. Now you've got the flexibility that whatever unit you want to build next, 5 seconds later, bam, you've got that unit. So if you decide, oh boy, I need stalkers and I need them here, warp gates lets you do that. And so we're going to see Karune building a couple gateways, turning them into warp gates. He's got 2 of them now. I like this a lot because it gives Protoss more flexibility in what they're building to respond very quickly by picking any of the gateway units that they need to have them immediately wherever they need them. That flexibility is very valuable in StarCraft, where certain units can counter other units very effectively, and you may need to switch what units you're using quickly or to get that counter unit out. Meanwhile, Rags has solidified his hold on his expansion here with 2 spine crawlers. They're the sort of new sunken colony. They're sunken colony 2.0. They're just like sunken colonies, except they can unroot themselves and move around and redeploy anywhere that you've got creep. So these spine crawlers are pretty cool for that. Kind of reusable static defenses, or not quite so static. Rags has also gotten up some roaches here, but not that many. He seems to be mostly have focused on getting his economy up. Speaking of which, let's compare the income of the players here. So Karune has done a good job of getting up just a bunch of probes on his crystal. Wow, we're looking at 24, 20, 30 probes mining crystal at his base. And so he's actually generating more crystal than Rags is, even though Rags has got 2 expansions. We can see Karune's got 38 workers crammed into his 1 base, whereas Rags has only got, aside from that observer, he's just got 10 drones mining crystal here. So basically Rags is not doing a good job of saturating his mineral lines, so that even with 2 bases, his crystal income is basically less than what Karune is doing, or just as much. That seems like a big mistake on his part. That said, he does have 2 times the assimilators running, though this one is not fully saturated either. He's just got a single drone mining from it. But he will have better access to more gas than Karune has got for the time being. That said, we have Karune building some Void Rays. These are a powerful flying unit, which can be used to... their damage goes up the longer they stay firing in combat. So he's sending those up around the rear of the map here, possibly looking to do something nasty to the back of Rags' base. We've also got some positioning up here in the front with the Zerg. They've got a bunch of roaches, some Hydralisks, an Overseer. In StarCraft 2, Overlords no longer have True Sight. They're no longer detectors, but in StarCraft 2 you can morph your Overlords into an Overseer, which then gains Detector. It also gains the ability to spawn a Changeling, which is a neat little unit, kind of a covert spy. Not sure we've seen any of those yet, though, this game. So finally, Karune is going to be expanding here. Though I really can't stress enough how much of an advantage he's gained by, by really oversaturating his drone line and really just kind of keeping in the economic game here, even though he's only on 1 base. Though we are seeing Rags now bringing up his harvester count and pulling ahead in crystal production as well. So